in automatically for you. And just a few minutes. I mean, it's obviously using a mix that they loaded up with. That's all they put in there. And it just turned it perfectly. Tasted great. But it's a totally unattended, automated omelette robot. And again, it's using one of those cooperative robot style arms. And these things, you can teach them, right? So you can actually, you don't have to do any programming, you actually show it the movements and it learns. Now it's going to plate up. Now I haven't seen anything like this in Australia, but this is like 3 or 4 years ago in Singapore. And there we go. This is a salad robot. It's a fully automated salad kitchen. So it does those sort of poke bowl or a pasta type dish, both cold and hot dishes. Again, using a touch screen, you can add and subtract ingredients the way you like, and it mixes it and blends it the way you want to. And then it has like a display where you go and pick it up at the collection station. Very healthy type food, so they're targeting there. Okay, so here's a short video I put together. It's 6 different robots. The first one, I think, oh, sorry, that was the end, sorry, beg your pardon. That was the applause, you're supposed to applaud. Thank you. Okay, so here's a few others that I wanted to show you. So there's a whole range of barista robots. This is Cafe X it started in San Francisco, where else? And it's a totally enclosed robot. They put it in a foyer of a building. Again, you use a touchscreen or an app to order your coffee. And it does the whole thing and delivers it to a window. And they have like tables and chairs that are human, sort of just keeps an eye on and cleans and serves the customers otherwise. But you can do a takeaway or a sit-in type coffee, and use an app there to order the coffee. Now here's one. At that same conference, I was speaking at a conference in Singapore, and I forgot my razor. So I rang down to the concierge the night before and I said, hey, can you send up a disposable razor? And sure enough, in about 5 to 10 minutes, the doorbell rang in the hotel room, and one of these was standing outside. It opens the lid and it has a display saying, here, Mr. Farrell, here's your razor. Right? So you think about some of these big hotels, there's a lot of running around with room service, concierge, housekeeping, sending up more coffee, whatever it might be. And these things are very big in the US and in Asia. There are some hotels in Australia using it, but you can use this for all sorts of things, not just for concierge hotel service. Here's another robot idea, and here it's a humanoid style robot, and it is remotely controlled by a handicapped person working from home. How cool is that, right? You can give someone a job and they talk to the customer through speakers, and they handle all the unusual things on the menu, and they direct the robot to do things and take the order and behave. How cool is that? It's called telepresence, you know, when a person in one location can operate a device elsewhere. And so here's a job for handicapped people using robots, right? I think that's such a cool idea. Here's one with bread. It's a bread robot. So you load it up with the dough and have different types of dough, whatever, and you can cook fresh bread on the location. You can program it so it starts at a certain time of day or in the morning. You can have multiple, obviously, doing different breads. You can put it in a supermarket or a convenience place to have really good hot fresh bread. So that's a cool idea. Another one. Here's one they're using in Europe. So this is a Mercedes van loaded up with delivery drones, and in the roof it also has aerial delivery drones, right? So it has ground delivery and aerial delivery. So the idea with this is mostly with parcel delivery, where you drive the truck with all the things loaded to a certain location, and from there it sends it out into the streets, right? But of course we've seen a lot of this delivery drone ideas in the US and Europe, and in fact Domino's in Australia did this. So this is the DRU, the Domino's robotic unit, and they developed this back in 2017. And I don't know if you remember any of the publicity, but they spent a lot of money on this. This robot was actually designed as a military target robot for the army to run on the field. They try and shoot the targets, right? Moving targets. So they used that technology and did a pizza delivery. So it's got a heated section and the lid opens up and so on. And so they did a big fanfare. And I don't know if you ever used the Domino's app here in Australia, where you got a little robot face that helps you as a chat thing to help you with your order on the app. That's Drew. That's coming from this. So that started in 2017, and they had videos and films and promotion about that. Here we are in 2024. Hasn't been used. Never went live. And I mention that because if you think of all the big pizza companies here, if I was to ask you which the most technology driven company, you'd probably say Domino's, because they do stuff like this and they have this image. And so the point I'm making here is that even though you may not use it to deliver things, you are using it as a marketing tool. You're creating attention to your venue, and you are getting traction. And if you go to some of these restaurants that do have these waiter robots, I'll show you in a moment that the Bella bot from Hoodoo, which is just down here at the show, it will sing a happy birthday song, right? You can program it to deliver a birthday cake and sing happy birthday at the table. So there's all these sort of gimmicky things around as well, and you think, is it worth it? I'll tell you what, the customers love it. And what you want is an experience for the kids, for the family, whatever. So don't knock it if you think it's a bit of a gimmick. Think about it as a part of the dining experience, not only just a cost-saving thing. Here's another one. I quite like this one. This is a security robot, or otherwise known as RoboCop. They have a fixed position one. You put it in place, so it's got cameras, microphones, loudspeakers, warnings, sensors. It's got AI image processing, so if it sees something it doesn't like, it alerts the head office, the security. This one's mobile, so you can actually control your car park or your area around your venue, and direct it to spots where you have some challenges maybe, or there's an incident. You put the robot in place, start recording. You can communicate with the people on the site. You can call for help. If anyone tries to vandalize it, it flashes blue and records everything anyway. So it's quite an intelligent. The New York police are using it in the subway in New York. And of course, you think about the licensing laws here in Australia, where you have to have security guards on certain days of the week outside, checking people coming and going. This type of thing can extend or support those security teams. You can't just be everywhere all the time, but you can have a fleet of these with one control office, supervisor. So very interesting. Here's another one. Now, anyone got an electric vehicle? No? So electric vehicles, whether you like them or not, the fact is in Australia we have no choice. Within the next 10 to 20 years, we'll only be able to buy electric vehicles, because all of the major car companies in the world have committed to a timetable where they'll stop building internal combustion engines. And we don't have our own industry anymore making cars, so the only cars that will be coming into Australia will be electric vehicles. So we have no choice. There will be the odd petrol car still around. It might take 30 years before it all changes over, but the average life of a car in Australia is 10 years. So give it 10, 20 years and that's what it's going to be. So all the problems with battery storage and charging and range and all these concerns, they'll be fixed, I'm quite confident. So the thing you need to think about is, how are you going to attract people to your venue if you don't have a charger, right? So here's a solution for a EV charger. It's a EV charging robot, and it comes to your car park spot, right? So if you have a car park, where do you put the EV chargers and how many do you put in there? Well, this is a different solution. You've got a base station where all the robots charge themselves, and you book a spot and it will reserve it for you till you arrive. And then when you arrive, it moves out of the way, you plug in your car and it charges. So it solves the problem of how many you put in, and if you've got more and more usage, you put more robots in, and you don't have the infrastructure costs of installing it at every single car park, and it gives you a different solution to that particular problem. So it uses an app, as you'd expect, and it also signals when the car is fully charged, so you can time to go. So if you think about all the big car parks you go to, like the venue here, or sporting events, whatever, this is a real problem. Where do you put the car park? And think about apartment blocks. Who gets the car park with you put an EV charger in every single thing in the building? No, you put a couple of robots in, and then when you're at home, you can book the robot to come and charge your vehicle. So I think that's quite an interesting one. So the question is, why are we now seeing a big explosion of robots? And why are there suddenly all these ideas coming out? Well, there's a whole range of things. If you think back to robots like 20 years ago building cars, you've all seen video of those big production lines and there's robots built, putting parts on and welding and moving around. That style of robot was actually quite dangerous. They were caged off. They weren't designed to be alongside humans. If you get hit by that arm, you could do some damage. So the robots we're seeing now are what they call cooperative robots. They have sensors and programming to be safe around humans. So those arms can be at the ice cream store and these other solutions. So you now got this whole safety aspect that's gone away or come forward. That's one thing. The other thing is they're all now AI enabled, so you can teach it something and it will learn. If it has a mistake or something gets blocked, it finds a solution around it. So that's the other thing. And the third thing is the cost of this technology has come right down. So we're now seeing the ability to create cost-effective solutions at a much lower level and a whole range of different applications. So what's happening here in Australia? Well, I said before that we're a bit slow adapting this and very shy. I was interviewed last week by a radio channel, 3AW, Tom Elliott. I don't know much about that channel, but his whole interview style was to say that the robots are taking jobs. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of case studies here where the robots are enhancing jobs and saving businesses. So let's have a look at a couple of case studies. The first one is a wok robot. So it's an automated wok, and it has the ability to do the entire meal much faster and more consistently. So let's just play this. So basically a chef will design their menu and save it, and then it can be shared to other sites. So if you have a chain and you want to do the same dish at multiple sites, you've got exactly the same menu and using the same equipment, it'll produce the meals exactly the same at every location. The menu and the cooking process is changing the temperature, the speed, when the ingredients go in, what seasoning is added. All of those things are designed by the chef. So it's not sort of taking the job away. The chef has to do the work to design the program and do the testing and set it up. But once you have set it up, then a less trained chef or cook can run it, and it will, quadruple the output. So let's have a bit more closer look at this. So this is actually deployed in Australia at a Asian food chain, and they've got well over 35 sites. It's, you know, sharing the programs and the menu items around the stage around the different sites. It's automated through the cloud. The seasoning's automatic, so the right amount of seasoning, not too much, not too little. You know, if you have a chef putting a pinch of something in, my pinch will be different to his pinch, right? This is the same. So you get the same quality, the same seasoning, the same flavour every single time. It is a self-cleaning function as well, and also portions. So you can probably do 20 or 30 portions in one cycle if you want to, or you can do one. So you can scale it up or down depending on how busy you are and what the demand is for a certain dish, for example. And it's a fairly small footprint. So this is a piece of data. So this is from that chain. This is one particular site. So what we're seeing here, they've got 4 main dishes that they use the wok for: steak, yakiniku udon, and fried rice. And of these dots, so here's the lunch session, and here's the evening dining session. And each one of these dots is when one of those production cycles for that dish was done. So this is using 2 chefs, using 4 traditional stoves. They managed to do 647 dishes on a typical Sunday. So once they put the wok in there, have a look. 1 operator, 2 robots, 1,235 dishes. And these are the dots. So basically, this one is saying that 1 chef did 320 odd dishes. Now we got 1 chef doing 1,235 dishes. That's damn good. That's 4 times the output. So these types of, and the other thing you've got to remember is the chef or the cook is still managing the quality of the ingredients going in and how it's plated up. So it's full human supervision. And what is it doing? It's speeding up the mundane bit in the middle, right? And it's producing the dish with the perfect consistency and exactly the same flavour. So it's a much, you can use a much lower skilled person to get perfect results every time. And that's the real benefit. It really is. I mean, that number there compared to 1 person doing half of that, 1 person doing all of that, that is brilliant. So imagine the cost. The other thing it does, this particular chain uses fixed price buffet, or all you can eat for 1 price. So what happened was, because you're delivering the food much quicker, delivering the dish to the table much quicker, because the cooking time is so short, they're ordering less, right? Because they're not wasting food, because they fill up, so they don't order as much, right? So there's a big saving on that factor as well. And not only that, they doubled their table turnover because the dishes are being served quicker, and you can then reuse the table more often. So there are so many good ticks in boxes for this type of solution, and it's really worth having a look at if you can deploy this type of thing. And there are other types of automation, but this one is a particularly good one. And you have a smaller kitchen crew. Now, if you're doubling your turnover, obviously, if you've got twice as many people going to the restaurant, it's not like you're using less chefs. Those chefs are going to be busy doing all the other things they need to be doing for the people coming through, right? There's desserts and other dishes and things that aren't going through the wok, right? So these guys have doubled their turnover using less staff on the wok station effectively, and then really producing a greater result commercially. Attracting and retaining staff, big problem in food service. But if you've got younger people coming through and you want to really motivate and attract them, tell them you've got robots. Working with robots and programming them, and it's a cool thing. It's a great thing. So it's not a bad advertisement or thing to think about when you're trying to get staffing, right? It makes their job easier. And of course, this chain was saying that they had less deviation of the standard dishes, so it really reinforced the quality of their brand. You always get that nice dish like McDonald's. Always know what you get at McDonald's in a big bag. It's always the same. So now you can do it with this type of dish as well. So great story. Return on investment under 6 months. That's a great story. So that's one case study. I want to do one more, and this is your robot waiter. Now, I've been following this for some time. In fact, I did a graph last year for this show where I showed the number of robot models that were on display here at the Fine Food. And in 2018 there was one, and it wasn't this one, it was a robot arm that did pastry decoration if you're doing a big function. Last year there were 24 different models of robots, and I suspect it'll be the same number this year at the show. So we're seeing, even in Australia, the number and range of robot solutions growing rapidly. And I just wanted to show you this. This is something I use. So I've just designed this infographic, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different factors. So it's the application, the commercial viability. You know, is it really going to save me money? The next one is, I can't read it so close. Oh, the development stage. Is it ready for the market, or is it still an experiment, right? And